Welcome to Nothing Conversations. Hello, Nikki.
Hello.
Just say what you were saying earlier. We were already having a conversation. I'm like, oh, I forgot to record.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet. But what were we talking about? We were talking about
Something about being out there.
being out there.
Putting yourself out there.
Yes.
Speaking about this.
Yes. Speaking about this. So speaking about this. See, even that word.
I know, because there's no this.
But there is this.
It is.
At the same time, this is this.
This is it, this is
This is you doing this and me
That's
figuring out the audio and all of those
right.
things. Because I think that this and the this can be a little bit too much.
I know.
A bit
That's
thisy,
true.
It's
That's
like
true.
We've made another story of the thisy.
That's right.
It's like, well, okay, well.
So speaking about story, can you tell me about your story, Nikki?
Oh gosh, that'd be a tale now, wouldn't it?
Take your time.
Take my time. Well, that's the thing. It's with stories. It's like, tell me your story. And you're like, okay, right, now, where should I begin? Do you go where you were born and what your family was, or where you moved to, and then when you got married, had a baby? Like, you don't know where to start the story, really. It's like when someone says, oh, what's your story? Or, what's that question they always ask? What do you do? I don't even know where to go with those things anymore, because I can recognize what the person's doing is they're trying to peg you into something. It's like, oh, well, that's her story. Yeah, I can recognize that. Oh, gosh, that sounds a bit rubbish. Or, oh, that's good. So I don't really know where to say where my story starts. There's no beginning of my story. I found you this morning because I've been watching your videos. There's the story that started. And it was so lovely that you contacted me right back. Like, was like, hello. And I think it was because you were in Toronto. I was thinking, oh my goodness, there's somebody else on the freezing tundra that talks like me.
I know. I was like, someone's in Guelph?
How
can that be?
Do you know where that is? You know where that is?
Yes. I partied there before, near the university. That's where people from Toronto go to party. When you're younger. It's great.
Yes, it's a great little city.
It is. Yeah. So how did you stumble upon this thing called non-duality? How did you went to, I think we were talking earlier about spiritual search and all that kind of stuff, and then your parents are from India.
They are.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how did you stumble upon this, Nikki?
Well, it has nothing to do with my parents being from India, really, honestly, because that can be the look, or that can be sort of an idea that person probably knows lots about that. But I wasn't. I was born in Southampton, Hampshire, England. I came to Canada when I was like my 21-ish. So no, there wasn't any of that. I think it was probably more about sort of going through your life and going, is this it? Is this it? Like, yeah, you pay your taxes, you do your work, you go to, you raise your family, you do all that. So I think that was it. I kept saying, nah, anytime now, there's going to be something, So then I think I was wondering if other people heard their thoughts. I was just going, oh, do other people hear thoughts? Because it's kind of like a secret. It's like a secret self, It's like, what are thoughts? Do you hear the voice? Is it your voice that you hear in your head? Like that, So so anyway, so I was just curious, and I would go around and I'd ask random people, random friends and stuff to go, oh, what, the pub or whatever. I'd be like, oh, so what's thought? And you can just see their expressions. They don't even want to go there. I'm like, well, a thought is a chemical neutrons in your brain or whatever they're called, you know, connecting and creating this thought, you know. But at the same time, they so believed their thought because they had their thought, their answer had to be almost correct. So that was curious. That was wonderful. And then, and I don't know, it's probably just on the computer, you know, you tap in things and then things pop up. And so then I went through this process where I sort of found Ramana, and I found a book about him. I thought, oh, it's kind of interesting, isn't it? So, you know, is this it? Is this it? Question being explored. But I found it a little bit wordy, in a different kind of wordiness that I don't speak. So
I'm going to cut you off here. I'm going to pause this for a moment because we're going to adjust the audio here right now. Sorry about that, but we're talking about Ramana Maharshi. Which book did you pick up? Which book was that you picked up by Ramana?
I think it was Talks with Ramana.
And how did you like that? Be honest.
I thought it was...
was it transcendent? Was it boring?
No, it's difficult. Really, with all of the books that we pick up.
Yeah.
Because how you actually would interpret it now with the understanding of other words and how you understood it at the time, like the timeline of reading anything on that stuff is a little bit disjointed, you know? So we can't really go, you know, people go, okay, you know, I read that 3 times and every time, obviously, it was a different,
so to me, it was, for me, it was like binging books, binging a whole bunch of different stuff. There's a Ramana, there's Nisargadatta, there's, you know, Eckhart, there's Tony, all these books I'm kind of like binging. Hopefully I can find some nuggets that I can use. Did you do the same?
And did you?
I don't know. I don't know. The thing to me that was a changer was with the no concession type, because it was just really harsh. It's really harsh because I love, you know, when I was reading Ramana, I loved all of the quotes. So I'm a quote keeper. So I'll be like, oh, this quote, you know, and I used to kind of like memorize all of these quotes and it would come up in conversation. That actually has stopped. That has stopped. Like I don't say according to this, according to that, you know, and because I revere them at you know, and that's great too. You know what I'm saying, to do that. Nisargadatta said that my life flows between all that kind of like, you know, and now I've forgotten them all. So I have actually, or I'll be like, that doesn't make sense. It's some of them sound circular.
And they're not supposed to make sense, right? It's just sort of an expression.
It's just an expression. It's just an expression of this. And Ramana actually did not write books, right? He was silent. So they just, I don't know. Do you know any story about him? I've read him a long time ago. And there was a time that I was kind of like, you know, when you're reading some sage book, you're like, you know, you have this honest to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't, I never remember them. I never really remember them. No. They're just in the moment. You read them and you go, oh, yes. Yeah. But the thing is, they're all words.
That's right.
They're all stories. They're all, you know, and they're just in that moment that those words are coming together in it to formulate what we think was an understanding or whatever. But in the like in life, I don't know if people are repeating those quotes or like comparing their life to the quotes, or
I'm not really sure. I know when I did them before is to sound smart.
Right.
Yeah. Or to sound kind of like that you have wisdom. You know, you have this wisdom that's acquired from a wise sage or something, and you'll just blurt it out. And people are like,
Right. Because
yeah,
and it feels like you've got a message and this message comes closest to it. So if I said this aloud to somebody else, then I could help them, or
Yeah, or I could help them change, or they will heal, or something in the lines of, well, since I have a purpose in life and I'm doing my purpose in life, so my purpose in life is to help others, then I will say these helpful things that apparently help this character. So you would do that. You know what I'm saying?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And that's when you really believe in your story.
Oh,
No.
I did. I really, really did. Did you believe in your story?
It's hard to remember anymore.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm sure. You know, this was it. This was what I was doing. This was what my life was. I could tell a story about my life, you know, and I don't know where that story goes. I just think maybe the thought thing, you know, doesn't, because now I just wrote down something yesterday and I thought, oh, that's something. And I wrote, there's something about not second guessing yourself. There's nothing. I can't, but that was my whole life. That is life. It's always second guessing yourself. It's like, okay, what if there was no second guessing yourself? What if it was just as it was going? It's like, oh. And maybe not berating yourself quite as much. So I think people often are doing this, you know, I didn't do it right. Should have said that.
This should have, would have, I could have.
Yes.
You know.
And then, you know, they rehearse this conversations that they're going to have with someone else.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
going to say this, I'm going to say that. I'm going to do this, I'm going to come back with this. And it's like, and then they actually have a conversation with the person. And depending on where the energy is of the other person, none of those things that you were could have possibly said don't come out. And if they do come out, then that's the character you're playing at the time, and they never really flow with the conversation because you still keep saying the things you're supposed to have said because that's the point you want to make, but it doesn't go anywhere. It just sort of drops, you know. So yeah,
That's so true. That's so true.
Like not second guessing it. It's like, this is it.
The story is so manipulative, isn't it? So manipulative. And then you become that story. You know, you think that you're that story, and you become super manipulative, and everything that you do because you're trying to stay in this story.
Yeah.
You know, you're trying to hold on to that story so much, right? It's just, it's madness.
You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with the people with their stories.
Oh, there's nothing wrong.
It's to me. They want to tell me their story. I don't know why, but they do. It's lovely. It's really lovely, and I love hearing their stories. And I don't mind their stories. And I don't even know if it's manipulative. It's kind of an interaction.
Oh, totally. I was just thinking about the old self, what that was so stuck in the story. You know what I'm saying? When it was kind of like, because I wanted to be this story, I wanted to be this holy being or whatever, you know, the teacher. Then you hold on to that story, and then you manipulate everything about the story so that the story comes out the way that you want it to be presented. Does that make any sense? That's what I meant.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because somewhere in the story, somebody said that you can't be yourself.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, don't be that, you know, or let's say it like this. And that's the thing about coming out here, you know. I'm just a person, you know, whatever description, living life. But that's all it is. Like this, the story is just speaking. Actually, speaking is just a story, so it's not.
Everything is a story, so.
But I don't mind the story.
Oh, I don't mind too.
Anymore, you know. Before you were kind of like, oh, I'm trying to present, you know, put your best foot forward, you know, and behave yourself, and then afterwards thinking about it and going, oh, goodness, Nora, did I say that? You know, like, oh, that's not very nice. Or that was really lovely. Whatever it is. But not second guessing yourself.
That's right. Yeah, I like that.
So what's the fear of second guessing yourself? What all that fear that's behind the second guessing yourself?
I don't know. I don't understand it.
Absolutely exhausting. Even though putting myself out there, I have to say, I can feel a little bit of energy going, Oh my God, it's absolutely bonkers.
Well, the reason I'm doing these conversations is to put out there the normalcy of this,
Yes.
the ordinariness of it,
Yes.
and to speak in a language that everybody speaks, kind of thing.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because I see people, and I respect, speakers that speak in a certain way. I really, really do. Because they're although there's no purpose to it, but it is a form of communication. And if I'm getting interviewed about just the topic of this, I'll probably be very, very kind of like, just one, I don't know how to say it. But this conversation is just great. It's just talking about all of it.
Yes.
All of the stuff. So yes. you said to me last time that you went to London and went to a couple of speakers. How was that experience? I've never been to a meeting before.
Oh yeah, no, it was
yeah.
lovely.
So tell me about. I've been to a Zoom meeting, but never been into a meeting of
actual talk.
Yeah. How was that?
It was lovely. It was really lovely. It was a bit odd.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, it was a bit odd, and I honestly just went to go to a lovely place, and I was hoping to meet like-minded people or whatever it was. And the person spoke, but there was still the person speaking and the people sitting around the person speaking type of thing, which I don't know how else somebody would do it. I mean,
yeah, that's okay.
I mean, someone's speaking. Sometimes when you're speaking, just even at a restaurant, some people will sort of gather a little bit and listen to the conversation. It's just a gathering, I suppose. It was really lovely. I think I was just there to experience it. I don't know. I know that lots of people go to lots of meetings. And
the meeting circuit.
Yes. And then they feel like maybe they gain, they're filling up, they're slowly filling up with it. And I think what can happen with the filling up of it is then are you walking around saying, I am nothing and this is everything? I am nothing, this is everything. Like if you're feeding yourself it all the time, then are we walking around with those thoughts? Like, where is that going to possibly take you?
I think it's the same as, when people used to do mantras, right? When people in India used to do mantra. I did it for a long time too. I had this mantra and I would wake up with it, sleep with it, and repeat it over and over again. It's supposed to stop my thoughts. So I was trying to stop my thoughts because mantra means stopping of thoughts.
Mm.
And when that was not enough, I tattooed myself. How to tattoo here.
Really?
Not myself, but I got a tattoo saying that it goes love without conditions.
Oh, bless.
It's from a book too, and then I just wanted to remind myself, because I'm always judging everything around me, so I'll just look. I'm like, okay. And so because people want to stop their thoughts. Let's go back to the thoughts.
Is another thought to stop the thoughts.
Exactly. Exactly. What there was wanting to have no desire is a desire in itself. It's the same thing. Trying to stop thoughts with a thought is a thought itself.
Mm-hmm. I know. That's what took me to all of this curiosity,
Yeah. Or what I was trying to write something. I can't remember now. I used to write these little things, and I would post it sometimes to Twitter, and that's how I got into trouble. That's how people found me in non-duality. It's because I wrote this stuff, and I got an interview, and then now I'm doing this. I thought I was just going to live like a normal life of just working, spending time with my mom, walking my dog, and now I'm doing this. What the hell happened?
Isn't this doing your life too?
It is. It's just I never thought that would be.
You thought you knew.
I thought no. I thought it would just be kind of like this is life itself too. But I thought that it was just going to be just not doing non-duality or speaking about this. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know the word, but hobby. Like
It's a hobby.
You're going to do things that you enjoy doing.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And if we enjoy doing this knitter natter, it's
Yeah.
great. You know,
It's great. I love
it's a
it.
lovely way to spend an evening.
It
You know?
is.
And there's lots of things that we get to explore and we want to research and we want to do, and this is one of them.
It is. It is.
You know,
Oh, I'm so happy for it. So happy for it. You know,
me
and
too. Me
just
too.
talking to you. Yeah. Talking to all of these speakers, laughing with them, laughing at the absurdity of this, and just it's like shop talk.
Yeah. Sometimes it can sound very important, though. I have to say, sometimes people can sound very important about it, and it's like,
oh yeah,
I really am just going to work and doing the laundry and doing the dishes, and you know, most of the time, you know. So there isn't this. It's always this, but it's not in this. This. That's a lot of it.
I like that.
Like it's just really, actually, very, very
simple.
Simple. So simple.
Yeah.
You know. So we really don't need. And then people are trying to use this person's words or those person's words, and it seems like it's getting a little bit, you know, convoluted with things. And that's just another story. I mean, it might not be for others, but
yeah. Which speakers did you resonate with the most when you were actively, you know, seeking this?
Seeking this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think
that you might not agree with now. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't have to be someone that you're.
I think I like speakers that are very raw with it. Not a lot of explanation. Not a lot of people sort of analyzing the person's question like that, you know, or getting into too much psychology with the person.
Yeah.
Like that type of thing. It's just sort of more of a direct approach. And I would say, you know, Tony does that very, very well. And I adore him. He's actually very sweet, and he's very charming and funny. But at the same time, I do find sometimes just say, I'm not here. I'm not here. And that's like, okay, well, can we just get past that now? Because that's been about, you know, 20 years, right? We've got that, been there, done that. Let's just be, I'm Nickey, you know, and you're you, right? Let's just stay there for a bit. And why isn't it okay just to stay there for a bit? You know, nothing vanishes or appears. Like here, from my expression, it's just really simple. It's very exceptionally simple. That there's really nowhere else to go. And I have to say, and I'm of a certain age, I think maybe there is a relaxation. I don't know for sure, but there seems to be a relaxation when life isn't as occupied. You know, when you've got a being baby, and when you've got a this and that, when you're juggling a whole bunch of things, you know, are you asking questions like, is this it? Are you asking questions like, what's the thought? You know, I mean, that was really actually years and years ago. So that was like, I don't know, 20 years ago back then. But at this point, yeah, it's like,
yeah,
like the river has been, you know, rolled up and now it's all settling.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, right, yeah.
Do you remember when this was seen for the apparent first time? Kind of like, oh, wow.
Oh, I think it's seen in every moment of the moment. I don't think it's seen once and then it was seen and then that's my story. I don't think so. I think it's like a continuous.
Yeah, actually, you know what? It's almost like it's just a one event. There's no separate event. Does that make sense? It's like you know,
people love the stories, I know, but
they do.
People are telling the stories. They're having a hard time because it's not really true.
Yeah,
like it's lost its truth, so it's really hard for them to get it out. And because they've rehearsed it so many times, because interviewers have asked that question so often.
Yeah.
They really feel like
that's true. That's true. I like this. Yeah.
Story, you know. Yes.
And I just listened to, you know, when we have these Zoom live things now, right? The most asked question is, how did you get this? When did you get this? Was it spontaneous? Is there free will? Those are the top questions. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you. I've been to Sang before, but not a meeting in London. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that a lot of this meeting started around there.
Right. No, the one I actually went to, and the only one. Oh no, actually, I went to two. I went to one in Belgium, and I went to one in New York.
Oh, in New York. Cool.
And what was fascinating was, just isn't, you know, the Europeans were the Europeans that were there, right? And how they conduct themselves in a meeting.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear.
And furious and very little bit, you know, standoffish a little bit, just sort of I'm listening. Yes. Oh, that's interesting. Or what about this? New York was like, well, then I'm going to become a serial murderer.
Yeah.
You know, it was very full on New York, which I have to say, here, it was an amazing energy. Even though it was interesting to see how the speaker was going to address this sort of, you know, emotion that was coming out in this person or whatever. That was fascinating to watch. And how others came in to try and combat that emotion that was coming out. So different places, different people, different cultures experiencing the same conversation because it was the same speaker. But yeah, no, it was really interesting. It was really neat. But I think a lot of the people are asking for answers to their personal story.
That's what it is. That's what I noticed now. Because
why would that person possibly have an answer to your very unique, you know, incredible life journey? Like, how would they possibly know? Like, they're just a somebody living their somebody life, you know? So, which was really neat because I thought, wow, the personal questions people ask strangers. You know?
When I was a teacher, you know, people would come with their personal stories, and they would. It's almost kind of like how do you say it? It's like an open mic. You know what open mic people sing, but in a meeting or something, it's like an open mic to tell their stories. Like a stage, a spotlight is on them. You know what I'm saying? It's just this outpouring, which is beautiful too. You know, it's kind of like. And then what was eating me, I was like, I can't help you.
Yeah, because here too, I can't go down. I'm not having the same emotions because when someone's telling a story, they'll even heighten their voice as to when it was a dramatic moment and their emotion is coming up and they're reliving it and all of that. But when you're just actively, impersonally listening to it, then they can hear that they just told a story and they don't even actually know themselves where it came from. But it does sort of sit there and go, oh, you know, and if you don't, like you do so beautifully, you just don't interrupt. You just allow them to share, you know, it's like birds tweeting. It's like, okay. But at the same time, I don't think it can be dismissed the way I see that it's dismissed in some places. You know, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole and go, oh yes, oh my God, that sounds awful. Oh my God, and then what happened? Oh really? If you're doing that through the story, then you're sort of building the story up for them, you know.
Someone like it's like directing it almost. Oh really? Wow. Yeah.
Like the polite way.
You're
Mm-hmm.
you're like the supporting actor, you know what I'm saying? You know, when there's a lead star and then you're doing the job of supporting that story. Hopefully you'll get an Oscar with it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Cool. But I think sort of just listening, honestly, this is what I love at this point in my world, is when people are sharing their stories, it's just you listening. And you even maybe in your expression, you're making a compassion. You're, you know, you don't have to say anything, but you know.
I've done interviews that I was editing an interview just the other day, and I think I only showed up in the video 3 times because I just allowed this person to speak. I'm like, yes, this is great for editing.
That's easy.
Yeah, because you can just edit yourself out. I'm like, I'll just edit myself out. It's perfect. It's almost I'm not there. And that's what it, you know, for me, this conversations is different, you know.
Yes.
People, I like this. This is fun too. And again, this is putting myself out there again, which is great too. You know
it's so lovely to hear about you. It really is. We want to know the person behind this. The tale of how this begun as well. It's really great.
Oh, the way that it started actually is Noel. Noel has his own YouTube channel. And then I told him about, you know, it was kind of like I needed a person to talk about this because I didn't know how to, you know what I'm saying? When this first, you know, like, this is what's happening. And he's like, oh yeah. I'm like, yes, you know, I have a buddy now. So we became friends. And then I said, well, I'm planning to, you know, I think one of the first people that I talked to was Andreas and then Rebecca Maroon. And I just wanted to talk to them. So I'm like, how do you talk to these people? Like, maybe I'll just interview them and I'll just feature them and put them on YouTube or something. So Noel basically said, you know, he came up with this conference that he's been idea. I'm like, oh, I'm in. So we kind of like, you know, got along really well. We talk almost every day talking about this, about little things like YouTube videos. He's the great man behind the scenes, but he does a lot of things, you know, to make this happen. I'm the pretty face.
That's what you call yourself. Oh, that's really lovely. And it's so natural.
It is. And then came along Julie, who's an editor for a whole bunch of non-duality writers, is also part of the team. And then there's Harry, who's a producer. Noel, Harry, and I are all DJs.
I see.
Yeah. So we kind of like
a bit of editing, and they look so fluid. They don't look like they've been snapped and cut. And
some of them I cut, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it's sometimes you'll say, you know, you'll wake up tomorrow and you'll be like, hey Emerson, I said something that, can you edit that out?
Yes. And that's true. I think in these type of conversations, personal things can be shared, and then people sort of, you know, have a second thought about
That's
them.
Right. That's right.
Because somewhere out there, somebody could judge you.
Yeah.
Or it could affect your job, or it could affect your family, or it could affect your, you know. So I get it. I see.
Oh, totally.
But usually it's something and nothing.
Yeah.
And a lot of the thing about doing live recordings is, because nothing's rehearsed, it's just what's being said. There is a sense of going, do I have really anything to say? Like, really? You know? And if you don't have anything to say, and then you're just having a, you know, nitter-natter, are you filling in the silence, or are you, do you know what I mean? It's like, no, I don't know. But it's lovely to talk about. And that's why it was so nice to see that you were in Toronto.
Yeah, we can go for tea. We can meet.
I know. It'd be
Yeah.
so nice. With a nice cup of tea. That'd be
Yeah.
really great. I'd really enjoy that. Because sometimes I have to say, I don't know, you probably know better. But sometimes in Canada, I don't know. It's just not a meeting down the road. There's not,
No.
you know, like I'm in Guelph. It's like there's not a lot of this conversation. But the funny thing is, there's not a lot of this conversation, but I speak as I do. And I would say, wherever I am, people do recognize this speaking. Like it's not far from anybody at all, you know? They can sense it, you know? I mean, a lot of times they quickly go into, you know, where are you from? What do you do?
Yeah.
And then they'll, you know, try and guess what I do, you know? And it's like, there's a curiosity there about just being yourself. The realization of just being yourself. It's like,
Yeah. I had a really good compliment. Someone said that there's a lightness about you that was not there before. It's the same, but there's a lightness about you, and it's not being faked. I don't know. You're just saying that. I don't know.
You can't see it from the other side.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that means. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I there is a seeming relaxation. There's no more purpose, and that's so great because I was so bent on that purpose. You know, even if it was killing me, I have a purpose. I got to do this. This is what I'm intended to do, and it was like a big cage.
Yes.
You know, that purpose
makes sense. Yes.
A purpose-driven life is such a big cage because you're kind of like, well, this is not my purpose now, so I should not be doing this. But we're just experiencing this. It's just an experiencing. Does that make any sense? And I don't know. It's a funny conversation. So what's your purpose?
Emerson, really? Huh? You gonna go there? You gonna try that one on me? No, but it's true, and it's a very natural thing anyway. I mean, you learn it from a little kid, right? From when you were a little kid, like you got your spelling back, you know, and I got, you know, 10 out of 10, and you got 2 out of 10. Like we made the purpose. We started making the purpose. You're supposed to achieve.
Yeah.
You're supposed to, you know, you're supposed to get better at things. So the purpose is natural, like having a purpose, but it's so heavy.
It's so heavy.
It's so heavy. It's like, and how we ask young people, so what do you want to be when you grow up? It's like, what? Like, you know, like you have to have a purpose. So, I mean, it's constantly being requested of us, you know, and if you don't have one, you know, you might be perceived as a bit of a, you know, tramp, like a bit of a bum, you know. It's like, you know, he's not going anywhere, is he? He doesn't even have any purpose.
What are you doing with your life?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that kind of thing. What's the direction that you're taking? What are your plans? That kind of thing.
Yes.
And then we've been hammered with that kind of like narrative and conversation from our parents, you know, they and society, because society wants you to have a purpose.
It's been from the beginning, like from the beginning of being a human, you know, of going, okay, it's like you're a baby and then you're just looking, it's beautiful, everything's so nice. And then we said, Emerson. And then suddenly you went, oh, Emerson. You know what I mean? Like it just started, you know, and you looked in the mirror and you go, oh, you know. I had this little chap who was, he had autism, he was 5. And we had a full-length mirror, special full-length mirror was put in the classroom, you know. And I saw him curiously like look sideways, like he just once in a while just look sideways at it. So I just adjusted the mirror a little bit. So he was just looking at it full on, you know, and you could see he was looking at the image of himself, but not seeing himself, but curious about it, you know. He even went to touch the mirror for a moment. He touched the mirror, and then he touched the mirror like just sort of like close to his shoulder, and then I took his hand and I put it on his shoulder. But it was the most beautiful experience. Like, we were both smiling. It was wonderful. He recognized himself. It felt like, I don't know, that's a story as well. But yes. But then we criticize ourselves so often too. Look in the mirror and thought, oh, look at those glasses. Oh, it's, you know, or whatever, you know. So yeah, there's a whole pile of stuff to humans, isn't there?
Nickey, what was your earliest recollection as a child? Because I don't remember now. I don't really know.
Yeah, no, that would be so made up.
I know.
So made up.
We
You
used
just
to,
remember a photograph, right, that they really like of themselves.
and it's all made up. I know.
When I was on the beach and I was with my gran, and we were having sandwiches, and you know what I mean? Like, it's just a picture, a photograph you've seen, and then that has to have an attachment, because then all the story has to have some attachment, otherwise it sounds a bit wobbly, you know?
That's right. So
But
let's
the
just,
relaxation is that you don't anymore. Like,
you don't, yeah.
you know, yeah, of course someone asks me things, maybe, you know, I'll say, yeah, I remember when, you know, we went to Bournemouth, you know, like stories to tell, but that's all they are.
And the stories, I don't know, I find that they're changing all the time now. You know what I'm saying? Because they're just stories. So we don't have a grasp of, like, you know, or timelines are so screwed up because they're kind of like, wait a second, was that? I really don't know now.
Yes.
It's all just...
I keep saying things like, and I shouldn't, but I do, I can't help myself. But I said, if someone says something about time, I go, well, time doesn't exist anyway. Oh, people don't like that. Because I feel like a lot of people are actually taking a very short breath all the time with time, you know? It's like they're taking a shorter breath, and that's it. It's like, I have to get these many things done, and I'm just behind. My life is just behind every time that I need to get things done. And it's like, my gran, she used to be like, listen, meditation's meditation. She used to be like, listen, meditation is when you're cutting the carrots.
Yeah.
You know, so it's been like, okay, you know what?
Yeah.
Stop with time. Yes, I recognize if I'm catching the train, I would like to know what time it's going to leave the station. I get time, but I don't do time.
That's right. Oh, it's time for me to meditate right now. Sorry, Nickey. I used to do that. I used to have a timer, you know, on you know, and on my phone, and it will say, oh, I'm sorry, I have to meditate now. You know, so I need to spend in every hour that I would do, I need 10 minutes to meditate because I wanted so bad, you know, that thing. And no disrespect for people that are meditating. You know what I'm saying? It was fun at that time. It really helped me because it actually, one point, it sobered me up because I was partying a lot. And then I decided that I wanted to meditate at 5 o'clock in the morning. So of course you can't party anymore when you're meditating at 5 o'clock in the morning. That became my party. So about just, like, you know, meditating and all that kind of stuff, feeling really great and holy and pure.
But we do have a lot of things to distract us, though.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Partying and this and that and hanging out with as much people as we can. Like, we're just going through this thing where we can't hang out with people as much. So you actually get to hang out with yourself. Now, I think even hanging out with yourself, this is one of the struggles, is like, they don't actually know how to hang out with themselves. They're like,
that's right.
Okay, distract myself. Right. What series are you on with Netflix? Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, what series are you on? Okay, what are you doing? Okay, I'm going to do Zoom. I'm going to do FaceTime. Then I'm going to do this. And the whole day is filled up.
Oh, yeah. Or you know, when I see I used to be a social media hog, you know what I'm saying? Like, my life was displayed in social media. And I would look at likes, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, I had 20 likes today or 30 likes today. Unless someone, and then someone talks bad about you, then you don't look at social media, that kind of thing.
Right.
Or you go in defense, you know what I'm saying? And like, no. But now it's almost kind of like, I don't have any, I post on social media for Nothing Conference and Nothing Media. But my life is not on display there anymore. Does that make any sense? Or if I like something, you know, like, I like scrolling through it, don't you know what I'm saying? But it's not personal anymore. There's no more Emerson living in that social media trying to be liked with every meal that I take or every workout that I
Yes, absolutely. Yes,
And
it is totally personal.
Yeah, it is so
But in a really
personal.
loving, gentle, compassionate way.
Yeah,
Like, it's actually even more,
it's
oh,
humble.
so humble.
Humble. Yeah,
Yes, yes. Humble, not as in, because sometimes
not modesty.
some cultures, it's
Mhm.
better to be humble, humble,
Oh yeah,
humble.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you know what? Guess what? I never got any sweeties because they were only 10. And then if I wasn't humble, I would have got a sweetie too. I could have said, hey, I'd like a sweetie. Like, you know, you're not getting anything humble. It's just
It's a
the
humbling.
more you are yourself, the
Mhm.
more you are. And when you're listening in person, when you're doing life, just doing life, people are much kinder, much more beautiful beings that I see.
Oh
Even the
yeah.
ugly ones, like, you know what I mean? If you just listen to them or whatever and have these moments of interactions, people are much kinder and more generous and more sweet than they can imagine that they are. Because when you give a compliment to someone, you can just
Mhm.
see them. They're just like,
Oh, thank you.
you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, I think humans are pretty hard on themselves, like genuinely pretty
yeah,
hard on themselves, you know.
yeah. Totally.
But the facade that's put on top of it, though,
Mm.
you know, it's like, okay, so how far are we going to go? Oh, which self are we talking about? Are we talking about that self or this self? Or, oh no, you're talking about that secret self. That secret self that's me that you don't know, that I don't really say, because I don't say what I mean.
Mm.
That might sound hurtful, or that might sound
Mhm.
this, or that might sound that. You know, so
Yeah.
there is a lot of, and I think as you get older, you probably do say what you mean what you say.
Oh,
There is
totally. Yeah.
something to that, you know, getting to a point
Yeah.
where this is,
There's a loosening of holding on to this
mm,
perception that you want people to see you, because you have this persona growing up, right? And when you're a
yeah.
child,
And you're still
and then,
building on it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Even when you're 30 or 40, sometimes you're still building that persona, right? It's kind of like, oh, I need this, I need a car to build my persona. And of course happening, that's completely cool too. You know what I'm saying? But there's no more, it's so personal before. There's holding on to, it's kind of like how do you say it? Yeah, it's so impersonal.
Yeah, and it's good to feel that energy too, because I don't
Oh,
feel like that energy can arise.
oh yeah, yeah.
There's no break in this. This is constantly constant, you know? So it's like those things can arise.
Oh yeah. You know what?
You know,
I love that.
anxiety or nervousness or whatever can arise.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually, a lot of it doesn't stay very long. It's just
It
like a,
doesn't stay,
but it's nice to it's all right to sense it. Like, it's nice to go, that's okay.
yeah.
You know,
Well,
walking into this meeting and I can feel like everyone's sort of going, oh, you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
and that's okay. You
Oh,
know,
yeah, yeah.
reduce everybody's anxiety if they realized everybody had anxiety or everybody had moments where they felt like they didn't fit in. I think most of the time people don't know that they fit in, and that's the thing, you know. It's like, mm, I'm supposed to be different, a little bit different. If I was a little bit more like that person, or maybe I'll try and pick up some of those person's traits, even though
That's
they might
right.
feel true to you, you know? It's like, okay, hang on a minute. Just take a breath and just be yourself. How do I be myself? Like, that's a big ask. Like, oh gosh, it really isn't. It really isn't. You can't be it. You actually can't actually be anybody but yourself. Other
There's no
than
choice.
like talking traits about yourself. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's just nonsense jabber.
Oh, totally. I agree with you. Yeah, that's earlier today. My there was a delivery of a fridge, like a big fridge, and then I'm staying with when I was in a small island. I think I've told this story many times. I was in a small island for quite a while, and then when my dad asked me to last Christmas to see if I could help them, because my mom had cancer and she needs all that kind of stuff. And I said yes. And little things, like it's been really blissful. Little things like walking my mom, learning how funny she is and how open-minded she really is. At the same time, she's really religious. She holds on to her rosary and prays. And so today, saying, because I've just been kind of like really happy here today, I got stressed a little bit because there's this fridge coming. I had a Zoom meeting coming. I'm like, and then my mom is like, make sure to do this and do that. I'm like, one at a time. But catching yourself and doing that is great. It's like, that was refreshing, because I've just been in this kind of like Zoom meetings, smiling, and like, when is anger going to arise? You know what I'm saying? And then it earlier. And it was great. It's kind of like, it's an acceptance of it. You're like, oh, that was kind of neat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's okay. Like, it really
That's
is
okay.
I think, like,
the difference before
catching
was
up with your jobs to do. Like,
that's right.
But I don't think we have to pretend that it's not that way. That's a tricky part. It's like going, okay, why are we pretending it's not that way?
Yeah.
Oh no. And then I sat down and I said, I can only do so many things. No, you didn't. You went,
No.
Geez. You know what? I'm going to get dressed. Why? Put the rubbish out, and I'm going to.
One at a time. One at a time.
And you're not an octopus. Like,
No.
you won't be only doing that one thing at a time. Yeah.
And I was like, sorry, Mom, if I got cross. She goes, oh, no, it's okay. It's good to see you cross sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah, like, wait a second. Wait.
Yeah. Give me a minute here.
Give me a minute here. Come on.
Anyway, the fridge got there okay?
Yeah. They had to take out the door.
No.
And then they had to, I think the fridge was, the fridges are so big right now, right?
Yeah.
It's just like massive, like this fridge that spits out ice and all this kind of like nice kind of stuff. And yeah, it was fine. It was good. But my dad is paranoid about COVID. So he's gonna like, I'm like, if you want, Dad, we can get it delivered at a different time. That's completely okay. And he goes, oh, no, just okay. I'm like, I can't be there because I have a Zoom meeting. And he goes, oh, no, it's okay. I'll do it. Of course, when they got here, he was like, come help me. And I'm like, I told you I was Zoom meeting.
Is this happening right now? This was happening? Oh, no.
No. Earlier. I had a Zoom meeting earlier. It was really, really funny. It was really funny.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Oh,
and just the dynamic. It reminded me of the teenager character.
Yes.
Oh, and it's great.
Yeah, that's so sweet. Now, the COVID fear, is it fear of death?
I think the COVID fear that my dad has is because he's in his 70s. And maybe that's what it is, fear of death. Yeah.
Like haven't completed something or still have some things to do.
I think so, yeah.
Don't want to go.
My mom on the other hand doesn't really have any of that.
Ooh. Well, maybe people are really exploring that question for themselves, because there's a lot of it about, like, a lot of that anxiety and depression and worry really does boil down to that I have now, something has come along that is going to make me look at, not being here.
The fear of not being here anymore is the root of all fear, right? You know what I'm saying? It's just the fear of not existing. It's so bizarre. I used to have a lot of insecurities. It's just or going from partners to partners, having as being a serial monogamist. And then I think I was talking to someone yesterday, and I said, right now I'm single and I'm actually really happy.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
It's just,
Because I think you do try to figure yourself out through different relationships.
Yeah.
And,
And
and then I went through relationships, like depending on where I was at in this story, that I would actually be quite passive and tolerate quite a lot of nonsense.
yeah, me too.
Oh, jeepers creepers. I was like, no, you know what? That's their expression. I don't always have to react. And I have to say that I really did have to learn boundaries, because it was hard for me to be myself.
Yeah.
And not have those boundaries. Like, and go, not boundaries as in boundaries, but boundaries as in saying, now the body just moves away. Like, it just moves.
Yeah.
It's just very polite. It's a very polite body. It'll go, you know, oh, lovely to see you. Bye-bye. Gotta go.
Gotta
You
go.
know?
Goodbye.
And then I'm like, oh. But, which is a natural thing, right? Because wherever the energy is. But yeah, I really grew up through, I'm so grateful for all of the relationships now, because I really learned so much about who this character is. It's like,
Yeah.
because you repeat the relationships as well, like, you know,
Oh yeah.
go into the relationship or meet somebody else that's a similar relationship.
Yeah. I realized that one point I'm like, this is the same relationship. What am I doing?
Yes.
And then you get out right away because it's the same one, and the person is like, did I do anything wrong? Like, I'm sorry, it's not working, because you just had that realization, or you know, being in a long-term relationship, and then you realize it's just a longing. There's just this longing, and now that the longing has collapsed, you know what I'm saying? It's just like it's collapsed. I'm like, where's that longing?
Yes. No, and I have so much gratitude that I am here with myself at this point, because, you know, I want to sleep when I want to sleep, and eat when I want to sleep, and binge when I want to binge. I
know. Watch the shows that you like. You know how many shows?
Yes. Oh, really? And you're just brain dead staring at it.
Yeah, you're like, oh, great. Yeah.
Mostly it's like, I just, you know, you want a connection, but it's like, you do want to be heard.
Yeah.
You do want to be heard. And you know, when you're saying things that might sound to most, or especially the person you're trying to get to know, and they keep looking at you like you're, you know, a bit barkers, you know, they laugh about it. But they don't really, you know, okay, well, don't say that when you're around my friends.
Yeah.
I'm actually just being myself here. I'm just having a little conversation.
Yeah.
I'm exploring something. Just because I said it doesn't mean the whole world's going to go upside down. Like,
and that's what we do, put on like masks and filters and stuff like that, right? Because you put on all of this stuff because you want to be longed for. You want to be wanted, you know, you want to be
well,
not.
mostly I just put on the masks because I just wanted to have an easy life.
That's what it is too. Yeah.
It's like,
now there's no more filters, and I'm like, oh wow.
Yes.
It's so you know, I cry at movies now. I used to kind of like be really stiff and be like, oh, you know, that's a really nice dog movie that a dog died, and I'll cry later, you know, hiding.
Right.
Now it's like the silliest things. Like it could be the most silly show, and I'll be like, I'll be crying or sobbing.
It's beautiful honesty, though. It's a beautiful honesty with it, you know. Because a couple of weekends ago, I was a bit sad, you know. I was just having a little bit of a sad. I was quite enjoying the sad, I must say.
Yeah.
Weird thing, but I was kind of like, I suppose it was sad. And then people were asking me, you know, how you doing, you know? And I said, I feel a bit lost. And I don't know the word, but that's the expression that I said. I said, I feel a bit lost. And they were like, really reactionary to it. They were like, oh, okay. So do you want to have a FaceTime meeting? Or, because I love having phone tea, you know.
Oh yeah.
Phone tea, you know. So yeah, it was that sense of feeling a little lost, but people wanted me to quickly find myself.
Oh yeah, because you're lost.
Because I'm lost.
Here you are.
Everything seems curious now. Like there is something about everything being curious.
Yeah, it's that childlike wonder that we thought we lost. You know what I'm saying? That just kind of like, or I trapped my finger, you know, in a garage door.
Right.
And at one point I'm like, I think I'm going to lose my fingers because it was really crunched, right? And it was black for quite a while. But at that moment, you know, when I sat down, you know, just to, and you know, you see the stars and the pain, I'm like, wow, that's what pain is. It's just like all of this endorphins kind of like happening and all of this, like, you know, just like, wow. There's no more like you're an idiot, you're so stupid, you know, that narrative that comes along with it. Pain is just pain. Or sadness is just sadness. You're like, I feel sad today.
And how did that stop for you, that dialogue?
I don't know. It was never there. You know what I'm saying? It's just this, I don't know.
But it used to be there.
It used to be, yeah. It used to be. It used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Or when you're showering, you have this kind of like, you know, self-defeating talk or something. You know, now I shower and I notice all of the bubbles and all of the stuff. It's just like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like no more kind of like.
It's so true, because that's something.
Showering is so great.
In the morning, you know, they wake up, they get into their life, and I said to one person, I said, "Well, how many people did you take into the shower with you?"
Yeah.
Did you take your accountant? And did you take your business partner? Did you take your, like, you're in the shower, darling. Like, you know, just leave it there, you know. But no, it is sweet. But there are thoughts that go on and on. Even though the thoughts go on and on still, I don't know about this stopping the thoughts or
it's not holding on anymore. It's just it's almost like it's like the wind. It just goes in and out. You know what I'm saying? It's like bubbles, or you know,
But you can feel the wind more. I could feel the wind more.
Oh, I know. You know, Nickey, I used to hate the cold. The moment it hit -10 here, that's why I was in BC for quite a while. Because I had this narrative in my head that, you know, I can't be here. So last winter when I came here for the first time, it's kind of like seeing everything brand new, because you know, when I left, I was quite, you know, just this personalized, you know, really heavy character, you know what I'm saying? And then I came back, I'm like, oh. So I went for a walk in the snow, and then the snow was just kind of like happening, and then it was like really freezing. I'm like, this is actually really an exciting experience. This coldness is so cold. It's so freaking cold. I'm like, wow, it's just cold. And then and then my hand was starting to freeze. I'm like, I better get in. But there was no more kind of like, oh, damn it, you know, saying I hate this place.
Yes.
An appreciation for something that you don't appreciate is good.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's not, you know, the whole, what do you think about that? Oh, well, you're not the doer of that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, really. Like your body got cold, and so it went home. You know? Like any more than that. It's like sometimes it gets more and more than that, you know? It's like, I don't know if I do the whole more and more. And then that's why I think that's so ordinary, you know?
Yeah.
Ordinariness of it.
Yeah, because I used to try to make it special. Everything was, you know, there's this efforting that you're doing to make everything extra.
Yes.
You know, when it's cold, you want it to be extra cold. And then you have a story about cold. Or when you're sad, you have this narrative of how no one will like me. No, there's this, you know what I'm saying?
My sad's bigger than your sad.
What's that?
People will say, my sad's bigger than your sad.
That's right.
You know, when they tell a story, I broke my leg. Oh, I broke both my legs. You know, it's like, it has to be like, yeah. No,
or somebody will say, my heart's broken. Mine was broken twice in 2 days.
In a row. Yeah. No, it's really curious. But there isn't, yes. And I can't say, that's why I can't say where it begins and where it ends. Because with those thoughts, stop thoughting. that way, you know? It's like, and it's fabulous to talk about this stuff, but at the same time, I always feel like the more I talk about it, the more I'm creating a story around it.
I
And
know.
it really isn't anything to create anything
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, there was one point I'm like, should I stop doing this? Just this kind of like, this all of this non-duality stuff. And then I was like, when that happens, that happens. That's okay. But right now I'm enjoying it. You know what I'm saying? So maybe tomorrow, or just all of a sudden it's just like, oh, that's okay. That's cool now. You know what I'm saying? And it's just okay.
Yeah.
It's just all right. There's no more kind of like, oh, what if this stops? What if I stop doing this? There's no more question.
Yes.
No more anxiety about
No more
things.
second guessing.
That's what it is. That's what it is. I know. It's so hard to describe this because it's so normal. It sounds paradoxical, right? You understand what I'm saying, though?
I exactly know what you're saying. Yeah, it is so normal. But at the same time, a lot of time people are just having these very listen to this. People are having a lot of nothing conversations.
That's right.
And then this can feel like this is a something conversation.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like, because people do surface talk.
That's
It takes a little bit for me to actually, for them to meet my eye, and speak to me now, here, because a lot of times it's just sort of a noisy noise of people talking. So I think you still doing this and me talking to you here now is lovely.
It
And I
is.
do appreciate having
It is.
beautiful conversations about this subject.
I know.
It's not a subject that I'm generally speaking about ever
Yeah. I know.
to anyone. You're probably the first person I've ever spoken to about it like this. Yeah.
That's I think when I don't know who inspired me to do this, but it was one of the I can't remember. My memory is really bad. It's shot. I think I was having a conversation and someone said, "Hey, Emerson, can we just have a conversation instead of the interview?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I said, because that would flow, and it goes, and please, you know what I'm saying? Just because with interviews, I tend to just listen. And he goes, converse back and forth with me. I'm like, okay, that's cool. But sometimes, you'll see some of the nothing conversations that I'll speak for like 2 minutes, and then the other person speaks for like 40 minutes. And I'll come again. I'm like, okay. And that's okay too.
Some people have something to say, I suppose.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, they have a whole long thought.
Yeah. I think they're thinking still that it's an interview. I should say that let's just have a conversation. And you know what I'm saying? So it's,
you know who does that really well, I think, and I really quite enjoy him, is Frank.
Oh, Frank is great. Yeah.
I find Frank just has a conversation with people.
That's right. Yeah.
He's hardly there, like
he does.
Yeah.
We I've had a couple of conversations with Frank, and it was great. We just kind of like laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen your chat with him.
Yeah. It's just
I find him to be very normal.
Yeah.
You're very normal too.
Oh, thank you. You. Sometimes it's because I'm thinking about, because we are building a media company, so we have to kind of like go with the audience. And then I realized, you know what? No matter what, you can't do this wrong.
No. And if it doesn't suit what you're creating as your media thing, then maybe it was okay to sit and have a chat with Nickey for an hour,
Yeah, totally.
It doesn't really matter. It's
no. I think that, when with this kind of stuff, it's whatever I put out there. Before, I used to be kind of like, try to edit it, because we were thinking, we had different vision, because Nola and I were talking, and then it just became kind of like, oh, I just won't edit it. I'll just put it out there.
Yes.
And that's I think that's when we started getting more popular on YouTube, is when the videos that came out. We're just normal videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people really want to be authentic.
Yeah,
Just be authentic. Like,
that's
can
right.
you be authentic and you can't even be it? You just are it.
You're already
Anyway,
authentic.
you know?
I know.
Yes. It's really hard to have a conversation that you might have rehearsed in your head before.
That's right.
Because I think in these circumstances, everybody is going to think about what they might want to share.
That's right.
It's a natural thing to say, okay, if I talk to Emerson today, what is it that I would want to share?
That's right. Yeah.
It was such a busy, beautiful day at schools today that I didn't have a moment to think it, which was great.
Good. How was the school thing anyway today?
Oh, it was so delightful.
Oh, good.
Oh, yes. They're between 16 and 21, and they have all range of things, you know, autism, and they are the happiest.
My uncle has he has Down syndrome, and he's my favorite uncle of all time.
Oh,
So good.
you learn so much.
Oh, I know. And there's this childlike wonder about him, this kindness, this comedic thing that he has. And every time I give him something, you know, like I'll give him a shirt or something, he'll cherish it. He won't use it.
And and real gratitude for it too.
Real gratitude for it. I think, you know, I gave him a shirt and then he still folded it really, really nicely and kept it. Did not use it because this is from Emerson. I'm like,
oh, yeah. And I just even watching them do processes and regular processes, they do it with such thisness, you know? They do it with such a thisness. I mean, it's a joy for me because I apparently go there to work and teach with them. Meanwhile, I come back with everything that they give. Like they teach me everything.
Oh, that would be so great.
You know, so
yeah.
They made me laugh, you know.
I was in a subway down in Ossington at one point, and you know Toronto, right? You go to the Ossington subway station, and I think I was really feeling down, and then along came a group of kids between, say, about 16 to about 18. They all had Down syndrome, and they were playing hide and seek with me. That's my best subway memory.
Yes.
It was just like, I'm like, oh, this is like heaven, right? It's just like they're just all so joyful, and then they're like, they smile, and just this beautiful enlightened smile. If there's enlightenment, it's
yes.
You know what I'm saying? That's what it is.
But they express all their emotions. So you can be grumpy, and sulky and moody. And quiet and
my uncle was heartbroken one time because he was in love.
Oh, bless.
He was in love, but he can't, you know, be with this girl, you know, that kind of thing. He was so in love, and then he let everybody know that he was heartbroken, and it was beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how often do we do that?
I know.
How open are we really in our lives?
I know.
The more open we are, the more we allow all of the other humans around us to be as open.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Really. Even though they might think, oh, I don't know, maybe I was perceived as a little bit naive, or, you know, it's like, oh, we shouldn't really be doing that. You know, even my daughter, no, Mum, I don't think that's probably a very good idea, because I didn't tell them about this, eh?
Oh, really?
Well, I didn't want to have anyone's voice on it.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? I was like,
I do.
Yeah, I think I'll make myself a cup of tea and have a chat with Emerson.
You know, I'm going to tag you on your social media, and all of your friends will see this conversation.
Can you imagine? No, actually, it wouldn't be much different than what it is. Do you know what I mean?
That's
really,
right. That's right. That's right.
But there are certain friends that do come and sit with you, isn't there? There's certain friends that come and sit with you that aren't your regular normals, but they do have sort of once a week or once a couple of weeks, you know, you can do this lovely social distancing on the back porch. And what is it that, you know, are people shutting down a little bit more and more and more and more? So they're not getting this sort of freshness of how life is being lived here, you know? It's a freshness to it all the time. It's like, but you can't be smiling all the time. It's actually really, really hard not to be smiley right now. You know, like, really, I can't figure out what needs to be different than what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So much gratitude and so much love.
Yeah, the just like what you mentioned earlier, the authenticity of this is impalpable. It's just, it's just so
Yes.
the unfiltered freshness and all of this. It's fun, and it's also not fun sometimes, and that's okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
You could be lost.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to happen.
That's right. And it's just the no second guessing anymore. That's a good one.
No second guessing.
No second guessing.
That's such a relief in that. Because I think most of the time that is the hard work that the thoughts are doing.
That's what I used to second guess everything that I did before. I didn't even know how that disappeared. You know what I'm saying? It's just.
No.
Yeah.
No. Do you think it'll come back?
No. There's no it's kind of like one of those things that once you see, you can't unsee it. I don't know if that makes sense. It's so permanent that it's you can't unsee it. It's kind of like when you I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can describe it.
We'll go into a lot more stories now, you know what I'm saying, to try to describe it again.
Yeah. But I think I that's what I love about your videos is every expression attempting to describe the indescribable.
That's right.
How beautiful is that? How much fun is that?
It is.
Why do we even have to listen to it with a right and wrong? I still listen to them. I love them. I think that's so sweet. You know, I can have all kinds of media genres that I look at because I like, I love interrogations. Like live interrogations. Yes. Because I like human behavior and reactions and how people present themselves and stuff like that.
What show are you watching on Netflix right now, Nickey?
Oh gosh, I just finished Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. Is it really good?
I was quite disappointed by the ending.
Oh, don't tell me now.
There's 7 seasons, Emerson.
7 seasons? Oh wow.
God. So many, and on it went. It was a bit repetitive and very violent.
I don't
mind really. It's just what it is. But it's very disappointing ending. I know it's going to ruin it for people, but the family dynamics, the only reason we're watching the telly is because we're watching people's human behavior and their dynamics and their relationships. I mean, that's why we're watching, And there is a beginning, a middle, and an end, and we know it, and we watch it, and it's entertaining. And a lot of times people just want to get out of what they're doing. You know how you were talking about meditation? I would say, like Grant said, you don't need to call it a word, but I don't think it's a bad idea to turn Netflix off, turn your phone off, and sit down for 20 minutes, and then listen to every single thought that comes up. I don't think that's a bad idea.
Oh, no.
Then you can maybe streamline them a little bit and saying, oh, I keep worrying that I have to get the paperwork together for the income tax, and I keep repeating that one. But how about I write that one down so you don't have to keep reminding me of that one? And having sort of 20 minutes, because I used to sit around and my girls used to say, Mummy, what are you doing? I'm having a sit. They're like, no, what are you doing? I'm just having a sit. I don't know. I don't see people having a sit. I don't know why they're not having a sit. I don't know if they think they're going to figure, they're going to get to know themselves too much, or they're going to go down to the saddy bit, and then they're going to sit in the saddy bit because that's all there is. Maybe there isn't a saddy bit, until you sort of sit with it. So I don't think it's a bad idea to have a little sit. Have a little sit sometimes. Don't call it anything. Just have a little sit.
Sometimes, these headphones, it's noise canceling headphones. Do you have one of those?
I do.
And sometimes I'll, I forget that I have them on because I work.
Not good.
I work. But you know what? But without the music, without the sound, sometimes, because it cancels all the noise outside. So sometimes I feel like I'm a robot just walking, you know what I'm saying? It's just walking, and I'm like, what? Then I have to take it off. I'm like, damn it, these headphones again. And I'll put it down.
Yes. And that's the thing. People actually keep those on their ears all the time. And there can be a little bit of an energy and a buzz that's going on, right? Because they're plugged in, you know? And when you take them off, you're almost lonely.
That's right. Yeah. It's
Do
almost
you know
like
what I mean?
hugging.
Like you're like, I'm not in there anymore, you know?
I know.
That's why people don't want to go for a walk. They don't want to go for a walk because they're not, you know, I mean, they do wear the headphones and go for a walk. But if you just say, I'm going to go for a walk, you know?
Yeah.
Your ears don't know what to do anymore. It's like, oh
no, I do. You know, sometimes when I had to take my dog for a walk sometimes, and my headphones is upstairs, and I'm like, okay, we'll just walk without the headphones, you know, because I'm a DJ, right? So I used to listen to music, and sometimes it's just the most beautiful thing, kind of like walking.
Oh,
you know,
it so is.
Oh,
it so is. Yeah.
And
it's then replaced with what the sounds are outside. Otherwise, it's just an avoidance.
Yeah.
All of it is just an avoidance.
I used to put on my hood, you know what I'm saying, my headphones, my sunglasses, and go for a walk. That was my walk, and I'll just walk my dog, you know, and he'll just. Now it's like, oh yes, it's like walking.
And it has been. We've had some beautiful days. We've had
I know
days, but this snow, especially in Guelph,
so beautiful, huh?
Huge trees, right? So every tree with every branch has snow on it. Like it was like walking through Narnia this weekend. Like
sometimes it's like a beautiful like painting, 3D painting that's alive, you know, just like it's just all set up. Like it's almost staged. You know what I'm saying?
But we can't. Humans can't even touch nature. So it's like, you know what? Wow.
Yeah.
It is a wow. Like I do like Claire, is it Claire?
Yeah.
She calls it the gentle wow.
Oh, I love the way that she said it. She said it's the first one is the big wow. And then there's
I don't know about the big wow. I don't know.
The constant wow. You know, like when she had that initial whatever, the constant wow, can like your big wow is like, wow. And the constant one, wow. And the gentle one, wow.
Yeah.
I
can't put a pin in it.
Yeah, you can't
put a pin in it.
You can't pin the wow because it's
Yeah, you have a pin for the wow? You have a pin?
You can't pin the wow.
Do you have a pin wow? Like beginning pin? Like
No, there's you can't pin it. But
no, I mean in the story.
Oh, yeah, there was. Did you have a beginning?
No, I don't have a pin wow.
Oh wow. Well, let me just think about it for a moment here, because it was a wow, not a big wow, but it was just like, this is it. Oh, this is it. And then there's a disappointment, like, oh, this is it. Kind of like, you know what I'm saying? It was just like, I think I was DJing for 4 hours, and then I just sat down and I just looked around, and everything seemed brand new, but it's been here the whole time. Yes. And there's everything is almost like in perfect order. I don't know if that makes sense. Like someone turned on the light brighter. That kind of thing. But it was just kind of like, and then you look around, and then even the dust is perfect. I'm like, oh, there's a dust and it's perfect. Like it's like staged. Does that make any sense? Like it's like staged, because then you're like, oh, okay. And it's always been that way. There's no reference. You know what I'm saying? Yes. And there's a permanence to it, because it never really started. I don't know how to explain it. See, I always get stumped.
I think you're doing a beautiful job at it. I think that's very sweet, the way you're describing it. It's really lovely. Yes.
It was just like this wonder, you know, there's just this childlike wonder and innocence to it. And I don't know, it's just like, and then it's not a sudden realization. It's spontaneous, you know what I'm saying? But there's no reference for that spontaneous. See, I just screwed myself up there. But but before that, I was trying so hard to attain something like this. And it's not what I thought it was at all. You know what I'm saying? Because before I thought it would be
something that you knew.
Yeah.
There is always that something that you know, and it's like, it's not that, no, it can't be.
It can't be known.
It can't be known. How are you going to explain that? Like, jeepers creepers.
I think I called one of my best friends and I talked to him for a couple of hours. I'm like, dude, this is, I've been talking about this. And he was like, you're not making any sense, Emerson.
Interesting.
And I'm like, I know. And it's awesome because I used to lecture about, something, spirituality. And I used to rehearse that, I guess, and it would come out really beautifully.
Right.
Towards the end of my fall down as a teacher. And now that this is not explainable anymore, it can't be explained, I always have a hard time. I always say, I don't know what word to say.
Yes.
or
still come out.
What's that?
And meanwhile, the words still come out.
The words still come out. Someone was arguing about nothing and everything. And I think I said, well, nothing and everything are just words.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So is everything and nothing? So are words everything and nothing then? And then people just stop. And I'm like, it's just words.
Yes. And there's so many words around it, because there's the word, what we're sort of expressing is seeing. Because you did everything about sight, right? How that particular reaction of sense. And I would say, like, it's totally impossible to describe, but it's kind of like, if you're looking from behind your eye.
Yeah.
And then because you can see from the edge of here, and you can see everything, right? Everything out there, but it's not flat because it's there.
It's like your blinders are off.
The blinders are off.
Yeah.
And it's really hard. But then I was like, I don't know if I can actually focus on anything anymore. I don't know okay, so practice like finding, a little object, find a little object and see if you can focus on that as well. Because the big picture is just always there. Like it's just
your blinders are off literally. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's kind of like you went from, remember those TVs that were like 13 inches TVs? Mm-hmm. Some black and white and one of those Sony Trinitron TVs. And it's almost kind of like you walk back a little bit. You're like, oh, that's just part of the screen as well. That TV is this massive screen and it's everywhere.
Yes.
It's like the ultimate HD, right? It's like whatever.
Ultimate HD.
The ultimate HD. You're like, and I have bad eyesight. And
me too. Blind as a bat. Yeah.
Me too. It's just this seeing, right? This seeing that is always been there.
I'm very nervous of that word, non-duality.
Oh, I know. But you mentioned
it's not a seeing. Well, it's not a seeing.
It's not a seeing, but talking. What else are you going to call it, right? It's this experiencing. Let's just call it experiencing. Like, wow. And then you're kind of like almost like this a tinge of disappointment. You're like, oh, that's it.
Yeah. But at the same time,
but amazed by it too. You're like
why didn't I see this same room?
I know. That's
why do I keep saying, oh, I better fix that door handle? It's a bit wobbly.
I know.
And I better, I better straighten that picture out.
Yeah.
Or I should, it's thoughts again, but it's like when those thoughts don't have anything to grasp, there's nothing to grasp anymore. and then you're seeing the room for the first time, like you say.
Yeah, or
After that, even though those jobs will be get done, because I'm a check, write it down on the little list, and we'll check it off as we go along.
Yeah.
Not like totally irresponsible. You're going to sit there and go, oh, I don't care that the door handle. No, it's your home. You want to fix it, it'll get fixed. You will pop that on the list of getting to-do list, you know. There can be a to-do list. There can be future thoughts. It's just how we function. And we don't have to make it into a, no, it's such a free, I have no idea what I'm going to do next. Really, you don't. You know, quite likely after this, I'm going to make another cup of tea. You know what I mean? Like, it's like that. You know, you don't know anything. But at the same time, we have a routine in our life.
Oh, totally.
What's wrong with that, you know?
Yeah.
Then you're going to put your dinner on, and you're going to settle down, and then you're going to, you know.
I'm going to watch Son of Anarchy because I'm interested now.
Remember, I finished that one. It's over. I'm moving on to Wentworth now. I
used to stare at this tree outside my window, and it mesmerized me every time I looked at it. I was like, what is that thing? It's just the leaves, you know what I'm saying? The leaves, you can never see the same thing at the exact same time. It's always changing. It's just the leaves are always gonna like, and then once, you know, sometimes I'll be looking at it for like, I'm like, oh, it's been an hour now, just looking at it, you know, like, oh, wow, just this, it's just absent-mindedness, you know, or getting lost in your own street. You're like, where am I? Oh, wow, I've never walked this way before. And I've grown up here, you know what I'm saying? Like 30 years ago, you know what I'm saying? Walking back and forth at the same street. Or the fall colors are just so stunning that I've never seen colors like that before. And I'll probably say the same thing next fall.
Because you're never the same person.
I know.
You're the same person who started this conversation than I am now. Like,
that's right.
Like we are the leaves. Like it's just that.
It just, like this movement will never be repeated.
Yeah. And I can't find it. I know. Well, I'm not. I've been in and nattering for too long. But it's, none of the words meet it though. You know?
No.
I tried freshness. I tried this. Nothing comes close to.
No, it's
and even the word nothing. Like I'm worried about the word nothing because I can see how it's creating this in people. Because if it's heard too early, and I'm really interested in people's psychology, and especially with what's going on right now, you know, getting too.
You can hold on to something that cannot be held on to. Like the word nothing, people be like,
nothing matters, and
nothing matters. And it becomes a concept.
Yes.
Well, everything is a concept.
But it's interesting how many people use the words.
Oh, yeah.
Those words, those particular words. Like that, once you understand those words, you really got it. And it's hard. Even sitting here, I don't know. Like we just did a little play of description there. Probably, I don't know, anybody, you know, what are they talking about? Maybe it resonates, maybe it doesn't, because there's that whole resonance. What do you think could make of that?
Yeah, I like that. Paul Morgan Summers calls it drunken conversations. Isn't that beautiful? It's like drunken conversations about something that is sober.
Oh,
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though drunk people's conversations are a little bit tiring. The actual drunk people's conversations. It's like, okay, I can only follow along down your, path for so long. But no, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's just, everyone's come up with their own beautiful.
Oh, it's so beautiful because it's so hard to describe. And I was talking to Claire, Tony's Claire. We talked for about an hour, and I was just talking
talk too.
She usually helps with the retreat. So when
And
someone,
you haven't been to one?
I was in one because I hosted it.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I hosted it. So we were talking about Claire's role in it because she's so her kind of like role was kind of like not there anymore. And then I told Claire, don't worry, Claire, you know what? If someone is crying, I'll reach out to them, and say, hey, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? That this happens in meetings, that kind of thing. Because a lot of people get slapped, you know what I'm saying? And the character gets slapped completely and they're like, I don't know what hit me, kind of thing. So Claire usually does Tony carries the machine gun. Claire is like the nurse that nurses them back.
Beautiful.
It is. It is. So we're talking.
I've just seen her a couple of times on the video, sort of creeping in and either talking and introducing the people or saying bye-bye.
Yeah, she's so sweet.
Sweetheart, yes.
Yeah. So she was like basically kind of like she asked me, what apparently happened. So we're like talking and we're just having fun. And then she said, share your story more. I like that, saying, because she understands the story, the story of this, it's also beautiful.
Yes. But people are so apprehensive about talking about it, though, aren't they, really?
Yeah. That's why with this Nothing Media, there's some videos that there's no stories at all. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like, what is this? What is that? And then this is kind of like what's happening now. And it's beautiful too. It's equally, to me, the same.
Yes.
It's story or no story. It's the same. It's all a story.
Yes.
And no story is still a
story. Dialogue is story.
It is.
Dialogue is story.
That's right. Yeah.
That's
right. But I better go because it's almost 2 hours. I didn't even know that it's almost 9 o'clock because we started at 7.
I didn't look at the clock either. It's delightful.
This is great. It's great to meet you too.
Yes, because it's just spontaneous.
Yeah.
Like everything. Yeah, brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this.
Let's get together for tea. We can always have a
for sure.
I've got a lovely little back porch with lots of trees.
Oh. Yes.
So come for tea. Anyway, I've got your messenger. We'll figure it out.
Thank you for doing this.
All right.
All right.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.